Ym mis Mai 2012, cynhaliodd Pwyllgor Cymunedau, Cydraddoldeb a Llywodraeth Leol Cynulliad Cenedlaethol Cymru ymchwiliad i ddyfodol Uwch-gynghrair Cymru. Teithiodd aelodau o'r Pwyllgor ar hyd a lled Cymru i geisio barn swyddogion a chefnogwyr pêl-droed. Cynhaliodd y Pwyllgor gyfarfod cyhoeddus yng Nghlwb Pêl-droed Llanelli, a'r wythnos ganlynol by'r grŵp yn ymweld â Chlwb Pêl-droed y Drenewydd a Chlwb Pêl-droed y Seintiau Newydd, cyn cynnal ail gyfarfod cyhoeddus yng Nghlwb Pêl-droed Llandudno. Cafwyd trafodaethau angerddol yn y cyfarfodydd hyn wrth i gefnogwyr pêl-droed leisio'u barn am sefyllfa bresennol Uwch-gynghrair Cymru a beth y dylid gwneud i'w gwella.
We were putting points forward about youth development, about when the games should be played, what surfaces they should be played on, about how many teams should be playing them.
Very positive feedback, I thought, lots of good ideas, and a lot of us were singing from the same hymn sheet, and I hope that just gets through now to the FAW eventually.
The big topic at the moment is the provision of an artificial surface here, be it 3G or 4G, with a view to seeing more children, more community groups using our facilities here, because you can put a 3G pitch anywhere, but when you've got the seating, the changing rooms, the clubhouse and the catering facilities that we've got, we feel that we're an excellent venue to hold that.
Well, 3G pitches were talked about quite a lot, and then it's the debate on what they do for football. Is it a business enterprise or is it a football enterprise? For personal opinion, I believe it works for both.
No, it's a FIFA 2-star standard pitch, so this pitch can be used for European Championships, which are obviously happening soon, Champions League games, Europa League games, so it's compliant to play at the top level. I think the old school are looking towards this as a benefit as opposed to a negative, really. I think it's because it can do much more than just give you the opportunity to play one game every other week.
We need to improve the facilities for the coaching of these young players. It was mentioned in the meeting that there are 4 indoor barns across South Wales, for argument's sake. They're all linked to the Welsh Rugby Union. We've got a lack of facilities in the South Wales region, lack of barns with G3 pitches, lack of G3 pitches per se. All the local communities struggle to find good quality training facilities, and I think the way forward for the benefit of Welsh football as a whole, now from up to the national team, let alone the Welsh Premier League, needs to look at the increasing and providing better facilities for our coaches to develop the players of tomorrow.
From a playing point of view, I suppose old school don't see it as obviously it's not natural grass, but it's as close as you'll get to natural grass. From a development point of view, from kids from 5 upwards, it's an ideal tool to develop talented players on there, because it's true whether it's in May or whether it's in the middle of December. The pitch is always consistently true. We have our own guys that come in 2-3 times a week to brush it. We've got a quad bike with a drag brush at the back, which then brushes it and obviously evens out the crumb. We've also got a drag mat which can put in the stripes in the pitch, and then we have a company that comes in once a month to do the deeper compaction work.
Once a month?
About 4,000 a year. Yeah, what the pitch generates goes a long way to cover those maintenance costs and more on top of that.
The way forward is youth development. I believe the managers who are well trained these days by the FAW and the Welsh Football Trust, who do put a lot of funding into that area.
A second major help would be infrastructure grants to clubs at a higher level than we currently get. The Welsh Football Trust grant aids clubs, but the pot from which they grant aid isn't as big as it could be.
Recommendations to increase the size of the league and to ensure better funding or funding of any description for the academies in the feeder leagues below the Welsh Premier. Absolutely essential. If you want Welsh football to improve, you've already got some of the best academies in Wales which aren't funded at all, and they need to be funded.
Third one for me is youth development and academy finance. We are now in the Welsh Premier League, and we will receive European grant aid to develop our academy next year. We've run a fantastic academy for the last 2 years, completely without grant aiding.
With the advent of the playing season, I'm a great advocate of looking at the possibilities of going into the summer football. Especially helps teams like ourselves. Now we've just qualified for Europe for the 7th consecutive time. It brings, lots of positives, but the negatives are we play out the season, the players aren't match fit. We predominantly play against teams in other parts of Europe who are in mid-season. I mean, looking at the draw that we probably get this year, 90% of the teams we could play are all in their season. So again, we play them where they're 15-20 games into their season, they're match fit, we're not. And preparation time then before the games, get nobody to play, whereas we're playing in a summer league, obviously we're playing then whilst we're in season. So I understand all the logistic problems of changing to summer football, but I think we should look at the Irish League model, the Electricity League, see how they did it a number of years ago. It's been successful. I think I mentioned that Shamrock Rovers recently qualified for the Europa League groups with a substantial financial investment. And again, if we can improve in Europe, our coefficient improves, so hence the more financial rewards come into Welsh football, then we can develop those into the academies, into the infrastructure of the clubs and take it forward.
I would say that certainly the idea of summer football to help with the Europe side of it is great in theory, so what can we actually bring to that? I'm sure it's been discussed at all levels on many occasions.
We need more marketing for the Welsh Premier League. People in Wales just aren't aware of how good the league is, what a high standard it's played at, and when games are played. So a greater degree of marketing, including influencing the British Broadcasting Corporation to cover Welsh football. That would be one very big help.
Trying to improve our links with the media. Scory do a marvellous job for the Welsh Premier League currently with the Saturday afternoon programme. No complaints from anybody there, but I think we need to look at getting BBC and ITV on board, especially maybe with the results service on midweek news programmes. Possibly looking at getting a link with Sky. Just needs to get more into the English-speaking community, especially in South Wales, because from my experience, not many people look at S4C, definitely don't look at S4C during the week, don't see the trailers for the games, hence they don't see the publicity.
It was really good to have the opportunity to express views about the development of Welsh football to a government body. We were putting points forward about youth development, about when the games should be played, what surfaces they should be played on, about how many teams should be playing them, and it was a full and frank discussion about developing Welsh football.
Well, obviously we welcome the Assembly committee visiting today to enable the club's directors and senior people to put their views forward, and hopefully it'll see some improvements in the way things operate.
I'm impressed. I think it's taken a while, but now obviously it looks like the Assembly are finally getting interested into the Welsh Premier League and into Welsh football, and I think we can only benefit.
I think it's a very positive meeting. It's nice to get the chance to talk to somebody new for a change. Appreciate the members of the Welsh Assembly coming up here to see us to North Wales.
I think that as many people we can get involved in investigating or looking at how football is run, the better the transparency is. It is for all. I mean, just look at FIFA, so we don't want to go down that route. So from my point of view, I think it's a good thing to be doing. It's nice that other people can meet and talk in the way that they were talking this evening. And as I say, if it gives you a chance to give new ideas, gives you a chance to open up facts rather than rumour, it's got to be a good thing.
Cynulliad Cenedlaethol Cymru yw'r corff sy'n cael ei ethol yn ddemocrataidd i gynrychioli buddiannau Cymru a'i phobl, i ddeddfu ar gyfer Cymru ac i ddwyn Llywodraeth Cymru i gyfrif. I gael rhagor o wybodaeth ac i ganfod pwy sydd yn eich cynrychioli, ewch i cynulliadcymru.org neu gallwch chi'n dilyn ar Facebook a Twitter.